It seems like Giannis Antetokounmpo's patience with the Bucks is about to turn very ugly soon.
In that meeting, Doc Rivers implored his team, according to 6 people in the room, to look at my resume and, quote, Google me. I took teams to the playoffs and championship that weren't supposed to be there. I thought this was one of them. That was not well received internally. And that was just another example of the disconnect between player and coach.
Giannis has been nothing but patient with the Milwaukee Bucks, saying things like this. There will never be a chance, and there will never be a moment that I will come out and say, I want a trade. That's not in my nature. But loyalty in the NBA is not just about staying. It's about what you are staying for. And Giannis wants to stay with a championship contender. But this is the bitter truth.
Their options are very, very limited to make this team better, and I think that's a reality. Eventually, in the coming weeks, Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Bucks will be discussing.
So can the Greek Freak continue to endure the pain of being patient with this team? To answer that question, let's go back to when the waiting started, after the championship champagne had passed. Giannis has never treated loyalty like a strategy. For him, it has always been something deeper than basketball. He did not build his career by chasing super teams or forcing his way into better situations. He built it by believing that Milwaukee could become the best situation. And that belief came with a condition.
If in the Milwaukee Bucks organization, which is the same thing I say every single year I've been with the Bucks, as long as we are in for a championship, as long as nobody's comfortable, as long as everybody sacrifices the same amount of time and sweat and blood that I've sacrificed for this city to win a championship, we are all good.
That is not blind loyalty. That is earned loyalty. It is loyalty tied directly to winning. Because for Giannis, staying only works if the goal is still a championship. And for a moment, it actually looked like Giannis Antetokounmpo was right to wait. Because after years of staying loyal, after years of trusting the front office to figure it out, the Milwaukee Bucks finally made the move everyone had been waiting for. They went all in. They traded for a superstar. They paired Giannis with Damian Lillard. They sacrificed their future to build a championship window in the present. And for Giannis, that was validation. That was the moment where patience was supposed to pay off. But the problem with going all in is that you don't get a second chance if it fails. At first, it looked like the kind of move that could carry Milwaukee back to the top. A dominant inside force paired with one of the most dangerous guards in the league. On paper, it made perfect sense. But in reality, it never fully came together. The chemistry was inconsistent, and when the playoffs came, the breakthrough never happened. And then, everything collapsed at once. Damian Lillard went down with an Achilles injury. A season that was supposed to define Giannis's prime suddenly turned into another what if. And not long after that, the Bucks made one of the most shocking decisions in recent NBA history. They let Dame go. Just like that, the one move Giannis had waited for was gone. And what made it even more frustrating is that Giannis never stopped being loyal even with all the sweet trades. He doubled down and said, "Today I am committed, not 100%, but 1,000,000% to my teammates, to my craft, to this team, and to this city." He said 1,000,000%.
This long, I feel like Giannis should have been moved a long time ago.
Now, Giannis may not say he wants out, but the situation around him is starting to move like a player who might need to. And that is what makes this part of the story so important. He stayed patient and waited for the moment when everything would finally align. And when that moment came, it didn't last, which means now he's right back where he started.
One source with the team told me this week and really summed it up. When your best player is 1 foot in, 1 foot out, you're just not going to win.
The hardest part about Giannis Antetokounmpo's situation is that the problems are no longer just on the court. They are starting to show up behind the scenes. Because when a team is truly competing, you feel alignment. The players understand the system, the coaches trust the locker room, and everyone is moving toward the same goal. That is not what's happening in Milwaukee.
My understanding is there was another team meeting, but this only had the veteran players in it.
Right.
The coaches and the veteran players. So the Giannis of the world, the Bobby Portises, Kyle Kuzmas, Miles Turner, Taurean Prince, etc. And in that meeting, Doc Rivers, one by one, addresses each player, gives them feedback. Giannis and Bobby were not addressed in that meeting.
Now, when your best player is not part of the correction, it raises a much bigger question. What exactly is being fixed, and who is it being fixed for? With the statement from Shams, it seems even the Bucks and its management are preparing for life without Giannis. But even with all this, the Greek Freak still doesn't want to say a word.
Get serious, but Giannis is never going to come out on national TV and say to the world, "Get me out of here." He's never going to do that. He's seen other people do that, and that's not who he is, right? But we all know Giannis don't want to be there.
That is the tension at the center of everything. Giannis is not fully leaving, but neither is he fully settled. And that is what makes patience so dangerous. Because the longer you stay in a situation that is not working, the harder it becomes to ignore the reality of it. And the reality in Milwaukee right now is uncertainty. But with every passing day, it seems inevitable that Giannis will be moving soon.
There's one team and one offer that the Bucks seriously considered in the final hours at the NBA trade deadline. That's the Miami Heat.
While Giannis continues to speak like a franchise cornerstone, the voices around the league have started saying something very different. Because from the outside looking in, patience doesn't look like loyalty anymore. It looks like hesitation.
We actually know where Giannis wants to be. Giannis wants to be in New York.
While there's no confirmation on the Greek Freak wanting to move to New York, it's clear that the Bucks do not meet his criteria as a championship team. Besides, they are preparing to move on from him despite the kind of season he's having, even with the injuries.
Giannis is having a bad year. Missed half the season, been injured. He's having a bad year, Shay. You know what that bad year is? 27-9 on 64% shooting from the field. That's a bad year. We're talking about Giannis. Let me tell you who you give up for Giannis. Everybody.
And that's where the pressure starts to build, because former players like Iman Shumpert sees it differently. All these years, and Giannis stayed patient with the Bucks.
Oh, Giannis, it's time to get some sunshine, brother. You were supposed to get it early on. You didn't want to be the bad guy.
That line hits differently, because it suggests that Giannis didn't just stay out of loyalty, he stayed to avoid becoming that guy who leaves. But in the NBA, that decision always comes with a cost, and the media has been watching that tension build in real time. And once people start believing your star player is torn, the situation changes completely. And even when Giannis stays silent publicly, that silence starts to frustrate people who are watching the situation unfold.
Here's where your frustration should lie. It's not about the story. It's about the fact that Giannis refuses to come out publicly.
That part,
and say,
I agree.
I want out.
At that point, the conversation is no longer about loyalty, and it becomes about clarity. And the reality is, Giannis is stuck between two identities. The superstar who could leave and instantly compete for championships, and the loyal franchise icon who wants to win where he started. The problem is, the Bucks right now are not clearly giving him either. Giannis Antetokounmpo has done everything the right way. He stayed loyal to the team that drafted him. He trusted the organization to build a contender, and he waited, sacrificed, and delivered a championship. But patience in the NBA is not passive. It comes with pressure, expectations, and eventually consequences. Just ask legends like Allen Iverson. But right now, when you listen closely to everything surrounding Giannis, you start to hear the same pattern over and over again. Commitment on the outside, uncertainty underneath, and a clock that keeps ticking louder every season. And if you want to see what that kind of loyalty really costs a superstar, watch The Pain of Being Loyal to Your Team next.